But the best one is, how many people have ever heard this phrase? This is going to be hard to pass in an election year. Why are good laws hard to pass in an election year? I get the same answer. I was even told that people can't, not don't, but can't understand the issue, any issues. And that's why elections are won and run on endorsements, negative ads, and yard signs. In assessing all of this advice, I still end up getting the same answer. The people really don't matter. They are simply a source of the votes necessary to win. Been a shift in the representation. People have been replaced by the special interests. This observation, I found, permeated every level of government. Now, permeated doesn't mean complete. It means it's infused in it. So there are still good people in government at all levels, but they're overpowered by those who are subject to these kinds of pressures. So, the fourth thing to my campaign, besides the 3 Ds, was the Repair Florida campaign. And you'll see that on my literature, Repair Florida. The neat part is that I found that I could start the repair process even before I was elected by doing one simple thing. I can repair the relationship between the people of District 53 and their candidate. I can elevate people over lobbyists and special interests. All I had to do is to refuse contributions from anyone other than a registered voter in District 53. Now that took guts on my part. What it's going to take on the part of the people in 53 is they're going to have to step up and do, like some other folks have pointed out, and work on the election itself. Because if special interests aren't going to do it, we got to do it ourselves. That's okay. This act shut out the very interests who brought you all the things you don't like a $1 trillion deficit. They're not players in my campaign. I found I can launch a campaign to educate the voter, like Franklin and Jefferson and Adams admonished us to do. And if you go to my website, you'll see more than 50 essays, which are not dumbed down. They're short, only about a page, page and a half. They talk about the issues. You'll see every questionnaire that a special interest group has sent me, and you'll see all of my answers. And my answers are clearly not. This is really fun. They send you a questionnaire, and at the beginning of the questionnaire, they say, in so many words, someone would say it outright, if you get the answers right, we'll give you an endorsement, we'll send you a check. Right? Well, that's the reason they're posted on my website is so that the voters, the people, can peek inside what campaigns are about and start to understand why some people will stand up here and say really stupid stuff. Did I say that out loud? Yes, I did. You get to see who I am because I'm not hiding anything. It's all there on the website. I'll talk to you about anything you want. Part of this is to re-engage the people in the political process. The only way to really repair what's gone wrong is to get people involved. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way communication. I can sit here and stand here and preach to you all day long, but unless I hear back from you, I can't refine my opinion, and that's on the website too. If I've said something you disagree with, tell me. I may not know everything. It's that. In launching the campaign to repair Florida, though, was a really neat thing that kind of happened. I found out that the election isn't about me winning anyone. This election is about you authorizing the repair. The concept of repair was elevated over me winning. The election isn't mine. This is your election. In the future, these concepts of repair can be applied to the reinstatement of the 10th Amendment, limiting federal intrusion into our lives. In the future, this means that when the people say they don't want a train, they don't get a train. In the future, this means when people say they don't want nationalized banks or nationalized manufacturing or nationalized insurance, they don't get nationalized banks, manufacturing, and insurance. It means the issues that affect Floridians will be settled in Tallahassee and down in Washington. It means we can start to break up the oligarchy that's forming around the Oval Office. I believe it's time to redistribute authority and power, not wealth. Most importantly, I think, as you can tell by this amazing speech, this isn't the time for fiery speeches that gets everybody stirred up and yelling and screaming and everything like that. This is the time. This is the time for cool, calm, determined dedication to putting things right. In closing, I just want to remind you of one thing. It's your right to vote. It's your responsibility to vote wisely. So go to my website, go read the Constitution, go to the website of whoever is in your district. Be familiar with not just the name on the yard sign, but who these people are, what they stand for, and then get involved and get them elected.
Does anybody have any questions for Tom? Yes, sir.
Tom, if you're elected, would you be part of reintroducing the education teachers bill that was vetoed by the governor, limiting some tenure and some other things? And if not, what can you do to improve it that would? Yes.
What's the long answer or the short answer?
The short answer.
Because I kind of anticipated that, I have my notes for the long answer. Look.
I believe
All right.
you. I know you're prepared.
The short answer is no, that was a terrible bill.
All right.
That was a terrible bill because it put the entire onus of education on one group of people. And the fact is, education is a collaborative effort between the student, the parent, the teachers, the businesses, and everybody else involved. So you can't hold the teacher responsible completely. Here's the thing. It's not teachers who are responsible for our poor education system, and it's not the administrators that are responsible for poor education, and it's not the parents that the teachers like to blame. It's every teacher, every administrator, and every parent, and every student that's responsible. And every one of them has to step up in order for it to get better. But I really do have a long answer if you want it. Somebody else got to ask a question. I'm going to go into the long answer. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Larry. When you go to Tallahassee, which committee would you like to sit on if you had your choice?
In all honesty, I haven't made a list of the committees that are available. I can tell you that I'm probably best qualified to sit on natural resources and education. Yeah.
No, it's the same question that Eileen had asked about the redistricting.
About redistricting?
And
Redistricting. Got two syllables for me.
Yeah.
I thought about this redistricting thing before, and it's interesting if you listen to very specifically to what people say. Every once in a while they'll give away a little something. And I was talking to somebody about redistricting not very long ago, and the answer was, well, we can do a better job without costing ourselves a majority in the House. Okay? But the point is, with districting in the first place, what you're supposed to do is a good job, period. So my answer for redistricting is we have very powerful computer programs. One is called the Geographical Information System. These are the ones that put together all the flood maps that you see, all of the hurricane evacuation zone maps, and you can put people in spots on a map that are located on the planet. You can program that thing to lines around even numbers of people, regardless of race, regardless of party, regardless of age, regardless of all of those things that other people would like to take into account when redistricting in order to make it favorable for their particular party. So my answer would be to ask the computer to come up with the first draft. You can even put in city and county boundaries.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry. There's one more question.
Well, this would be, I guess, both to Tom and Larry. Now, the government, both state, local, federal, has been run, I think, the wrong way for many, many years, whether it's Republican or Democrat in charge. You have two voices here, yourself and Larry, that seem to be for change, to get in there and do something. But how can two people, or even if a few more might be elected in the fall, do something when you're strongly a minority, if that happens? How could you yourself or Larry or a few, what kind of a change could you make? You know, how would you go about it? I mean, this is...
It's an excellent question. No single person can go and affect any change.
What Smith goes to Washington.
Is they can work hard, they can be ethical, they can be conservative, they can be constitutional in their decisions, and they can communicate with the members of their districts. What I think that you're seeing, especially with the two of us, and I won't go beyond the room at that point, but Larry and I have a lot in common with what we believe as guiding principles. Okay, so that's 2. So instead of 1 out of 120, it's 1 out of 60. So we have like minds. We can work together, and it's the structure is this way on purpose. A representative is to represent his community, and the senator is to represent a larger community. So where the thing has gotten messed up, and where I'm into this repair philosophy, is that if representatives work to represent their community and do so based on that philosophy of freedom and small government and just letting people live their lives, then we can start to dismantle. I think you said something about repealing some things. We can start to dismantle some of the overbearing things that are there, and we can start to protect the citizens of Florida from federal mandates.
And I think Tom's exactly right. It just has to do with, we don't need government to be happy. We don't expect the government to give us anything. It isn't the government's job to make people happy. And we've lost our way in that regard. People think that the government somehow is to provide for us. And that has to be our message, I think, that we can solve our problems here first at the local level for the most part, and that the state needs to stay out of the local municipalities' business, and the federal government needs to stay out of the state's business. And we will get along without them. Tom's right, one more point about Groucho Marx used to say about Harpo all the time, you know, he's basically an honest person, as long as you keep an eye on him.
There's one other aspect of this. If the message that I have resonates, and if the message that Larry has resonates, and some of the other conservative people resonates, and our turnout is high, if we are able to effectively win big, then our win isn't a win for us. A win is your statement that these are the people, these conservative people that we want. And the other, remember those other guys that I said were not quite with it, that had lost their way? Their gut reaction is going to be, hey, wait a minute, these guys are getting too powerful, we should be like them. And that's what they will do until we start to go and win other districts. And get more folks like that in. So it'll have a domino effect if our message, my message, resonates. I won't speak to Larry. So hopefully that'll work out over the next couple of years.
Thank you, Tom.